This is Andrea Askowitz of Writing Class Radio. Our submission period is now open. Send us your best personal story, 1,200 to 1,500 words on any topic. Please check our submission guidelines at writingclassradio.com. We pay.
Going back to the place where it all began.
Hi, I'm Allison Langer.
I'm Andrea Askowitz.
And this is Writing Class Radio. You'll hear true personal stories and learn a little bit about how to write your own stories. Together, we produce this podcast, which is equal parts heart and art. By heart, we mean the truth in a story. By art, we mean the craft of writing. No matter what's going on in our lives, writing class is where we tell the truth. It's where we work out our shit. It's where we work out our shoot. There's no place in the world like writing class, and we want to bring you in. Today on our show, we're talking about how every word in a story matters. We have a story to share that illustrates this point so well. Essayist, teacher, and Writing Class Radio listener, Amy Patcherell, submitted her story called The Other Love of His Life, and we can't wait to share it. It's super tight.
We are such a-holes about every word counts. I mean, especially me. But I feel like both of us are. Like, we're cutting queens. I don't know. I'm so strict about it. I was thinking about this. Like, my book of essays, I've trimmed down my essays so many times that I've had to, like, keep writing new ones just to keep the whole book at book length. Like, that's how hardcore I omit needless words.
Well, I also think sometimes we omit too many words. So you and I argue about this all the time. Sometimes I think it's over edited. So you have to be careful not to do that too. You don't want to take out the personality.
I think you're right. I think that I totally overdo it. And I was thinking about this yesterday. I want to tell you this. I was listening to this podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience. Do you know it?
Oh my God. Yes. His are like long.
Yeah. First of all, they're like 3 hours. So I didn't give it all that. But I gave it 33 minutes while I was jogging. And he had this comedian on named Kyle Dunnigan. I just wanted to who is this guy? Why is he so popular? All right. Let me just tell you. These guys, first of all, they were totally high. Like they literally were getting high. And then they just started chatting. And they talked about all this shit that both of them knew nothing about. Like, they kept admitting, I don't know anything about this. Nah, we're on a subject. I have nothing. But they just kept going on. And I was like, these guys don't care about what they're saying. Like, they're not taking the every word matters thing into consideration at all. They're going on. And so my question is this the difference between men and women?
I think it's just COVID casual. I don't know. Everything is kind of up in the air now. Everyone's just, who cares? Let's just talk for a while. So I think it's more casual.
Did you just coin a term?
COVID casual? Yeah, I did.
Really? Because that's good. I've not heard that. So I know in the way that Joe Rogan kept saying he has no idea what he's talking about. Well, I have some idea that Joe Rogan has said some mean things about Black and trans people. I have a problem with that. And he did not take care to omit needless words.
He probably doesn't want to spend a lot of money on his audio person.
Okay, so I know that Virginia, our audio producer, is going to try to cut this. Virginia, don't try to cut this. Don't cut this. Virginia, leave this stuff, okay? Because this part is relevant. But I know you're going to cut it because you're a woman and you're trained. But do your best and don't cut it because I think it's relevant. Thanks. It sounds like he doesn't even have an audio person. He has, You know what it sounded like? He has someone in the studio who he asks questions of, sort of like, what's that guy with the glasses that I kind of look like? Howard Stern. Oh. You don't think I look like Howard Stern?
A little bit, now that you mention it.
I know, it's unfortunate, isn't it? I'm saying all this because we really do care how our words hit people. And we made a mistake on a past podcast. It was episode 81, How Do I Find a Literary Agent? We were talking to agent Barbara Poelle, and we got this criticism from one of our listeners.
We asked her to read her email so we could share it with you, and you could hear her voice.
My name is Taiwo Adesina, and I'm a writer based in Washington, D.C. I work as a humanitarian, responding to international emergencies around the world, but writing has always been a passion of mine. I was listening to your podcast from May 6th. Now, I'm not one of those people that send angry emails or pen desperately to the editor because I feel my thoughts should be considered. In fact, I've never done this before. You asked the agent on your show to speak to white authors who want to write primarily with characters or storylines about people of color. I think the agent did a good job of providing a diplomatic answer, and I believe she was right in saying that she may not be the best person to ask. I read American Dirt, and I've also read Small Great Things. I felt they were both excellent reads. I think there is room for white people, or authors in general, to write books heavily centered on people of color, as long as the research, the mentoring from other writer POCs, not just the subjects, and the intent to not exploit or appropriate is there. What gave me pause was the fact that you did not also address the need for more Black writers and Black storytellers and agents who are willing to give them a platform.
Talk about how you felt when you got that email from Taiwo.
Initially, I was like, my stomach clenched and I was like, oh no, what did we do? How did we screw up? You know, I was really sensitive and as I read it, I was like, okay, here's this woman and she's starting with like positive feedback. She likes our podcast. I'm like, okay, that's good. That's good. Are we going to lose her forever? What did we do? What do we do? And then she got to the point where she said, you know, that we didn't include Black people, people of color in the conversation with Barbara Poelle. And I was so selfish and so self-absorbed in my own, like, how do I get published, that I didn't consider anyone, including people of color. And that I want to stop doing, and I intend to stop doing. So I was so grateful that she wrote. She said she doesn't usually do that kind of stuff. And that, whether she does it all the time or doesn't, I didn't care one way or the other. I was just so grateful that she told me how she felt and was direct about it. And I thought that was great.
When I read the email, I really thought, dang, we are so caught up in our own minds and our own, you know, we can only see through our own eyes. And that felt like a big problem. Like, it really felt to me like I get systemic racism. And I want to do better because I want our podcast to speak to and speak about all people as much as we can. And you were talking to Barbara Poelle about your story. So it totally made sense why you were asking her opinions about, you know, a white woman writing a Black story.
Yeah, but that's an excuse. I mean, there's really no excuse for me not thinking outside of my own box and really including other people in what their questions are. And I think it was really helpful for me to see.
So thank you so much, Taiwo, for bringing that to our attention. And we want to hear all your thoughts about our podcasts either through email at info@writingclassradio, or you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We would love to hear all your constructive criticism. On this episode, we're talking about how every word matters, both in how they land on people, because our words affect people, and how we use them in a story. Because to make great art, every word must count.
Well, you value people's time too. And so that's part of an essay. We've all sort of, at least I have a very short attention span. So if you're going to tell me the same thing 3 different ways, I get bored. So I think in that respect, it has to be concise. But in a sentence, if you throw in a that, or, you know, you get a tiny bit wordy, I mean, maybe that's just who you are.
I had a teacher, though, in grad school so she had us do this thing where we would tell a story out loud. And this is great practice for omitting needless words. And every time we would say or that or anything that was not, that didn't count, like that didn't move the sentence forward, she would this is so old fashioned, but there was a blackboard with chalk those days. Anyway, she would just like throw the chalk against the blackboard. It was like, so I've learned to get rid of the that's and the extra words. But also, in an essay, especially a short essay like the one you're going to hear today on our show, it's very important to stay on topic. So a story is like a thesis. You have to tell that one story, and if all of your information and all the scenes and all the details in your story need to lead to your conclusion, and if they don't, then those are the elements you need to cut.
All right, back after the break. For anyone interested in improving your writing, First Draft, Weekly's writers group, is for you. It's Tuesdays, 12 to 1 Eastern time. It's a community. We come together to write for 30 minutes, share what we wrote, get feedback, and leave inspired.
First session, always free.
Otherwise, $35 a month. That gives you 8 full sessions a month. If you are interested in joining First Draft, jump on Patreon/Writing Class Radio.
A famous writer called Alison Langer once said, "You'll never know how great your writing is unless you share it at First Draft."
I love when you quote me. We're back. I'm Alison Langer, and you're listening to Writing Class Radio. The story you're about to hear is by essayist Amy Patcherell. Amy's essay was originally published in the April 2009 issue of Newsweek. The title of her essay is The Other Love of His Life.
My fiancé's first marriage ended in tragedy. Before we could be happy, he had to make peace with it. So did I. When I woke up to my boyfriend's kisses on a warm morning in July, I felt guilty. It was her birthday, and I was in her house, with her husband, in her bed. Her bookshelves were filled with the same books I had on mine. The Cider House Rules, Beloved, The Pilot's Wife. She was a literature professor. She loved writing. She loved reading. She loved Scrabble. And now she was gone. Brandon had been married for less than 6 months when his wife was killed in a car accident. When I met him 2 years later, he was still wearing his wedding ring, but on his right hand. The ring is a symbol of his continued commitment to her, I assumed, not a sign that he was ready to build a life with someone new. Beyond the ring, there were a million reasons why I should have passed Brandon by. I love books. He never reads. I live near the beach. He's 74 miles inland. I'm a health nut. He subsists on buffalo wings and beer. But there were bigger reasons for me to stay. We both loved racing toy penny cars in the mall, pretending we were Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and singing Barry Manilow's Copacabana at the top of our lungs. He was loving, charming, sweet, and he knew how to make me laugh from deep within my belly. Plus, I was like her, and they were happy. I pored over her pictures, trying to learn everything I could about the woman who came before me. She would always hold a place in Brandon's heart, so I needed to know who she was. A chill came over me when I visited her memorial page and read through the online guest book. No one could ever fill her shoes, someone wrote. That launched me into my next search, dating a widower. Every site I visited warned of men who disappear after a few months out of guilt, those who constantly draw comparisons to their late spouse, and those who live in the tragic state of what if. Brandon hadn't done any of those things. But then I read this. If he has pictures of her on the walls, clothes of hers in the closet, and trinkets of their life together on display, he's not ready. Brandon insisted he wanted to move on, that she was dead and he was not. He even avoided the red flags I had read about. About a month into the relationship, the ring came off. Pictures were tucked away and replaced. Slowly, her clothes began to disappear from the closet. Yet I still grappled with the feeling that I might never measure up to what he lost. In his mind, she will always be 33 and beautiful. Me? I'll get gray hair, wrinkled skin, and flabby thighs. What's more, their relationship will remain perfect, frozen forever in newlywed bliss. In 6 short months, they didn't weather the storms that come with age and time. Sleepless nights caring for newborns, arguments over money, in-law drama. As I fell more deeply in love, more questions came. If he had to pick one of us, whom would he choose? After we die, will he want to be buried next to her or me? Will we spend eternity together as a trio? But the most pressing question came on the morning of July 12th. Do I go with him to visit her at the cemetery? At first, I thought I didn't belong there, that she would want to spend her birthday with her husband minus the new girlfriend. I felt guilty for living the life she was robbed of, that I was lucky because she wasn't. But Brandon reassured me. She would want me to find someone else, he said. Someone who can make me as happy as she did. So we celebrated her birthday together, all three of us. Brandon and I arranged flowers and placed a mini balloon into the earth. She's usually pretty quiet, he said, trying to get a laugh. The wind kicked up and the balloon began bobbing back and forth. It looks like she's waving at us, I said. Secretly, I hoped she was letting me know she approved. In that moment, I realized I didn't want to fill her shoes. I had my own. She and I had much in common, but we were also very different. I call Brandon out on things she might have let slide. She enjoyed shopping. I prefer wine tasting. She was a master quilter. I can't hem a pair of pants. I am a very lucky man, Brandon said, as he hugged me on the cemetery lawn. I used to disagree. How could someone who lost his wife in an instant call himself lucky? But as we walked back to the car, I knew he was right. He has the love of two women. Maybe I'm a hopeless romantic, but I like to believe the first one helped guide him to the second.
All right, I love this story. It is so tight. Here's how it hit me. There's total tension at the beginning. Like, the narrator is in her bed with her husband. Like, she tells us right away, though, that he died, but still, I was just like, whew. Okay. And then very early, she says, no one could ever fill her shoes. And that, to me, is what the whole story is about. It's about this narrator, like, insecurity about filling the shoes of her boyfriend's dead wife. And all of the details and all of the scenes, everything she tells us in this whole story supports this thesis or supports the story about, oh my God, I'm insecure that I'm never going to be able to fill her shoes. And then at the end, when she's at the cemetery, now here's the only place that I wanted more words, because I really wanted more of a shift there. I really wanted to get why at that moment she realized she didn't want to fill her shoes. And I do get that it's because of Brandon's love and acceptance, but how did that translate to her? That's the only place I wanted a little more.
I think they cut this story to publish it, so they cut out some of that. So there may have been the words you wanted in an original version of this essay. So that does sometimes happen. You know, things get cut as it gets published, and we don't have a ton of control over that if you want to get published. But what I want to talk about is the setup, the structure. The structure of this piece is textbook perfect. The way she sort of throws what this thing is going to be about. Then we get backstory. The backstory comes in the very second paragraph. Brandon had been married for less than 6 months. And that is so necessary because I feel like a lot of times people don't ground us with the backstory. And that's taken care of right in the beginning. And then she lists in detail all the reasons why she should have passed him by. He never reads, she lives near the beach, he doesn't. She's a health nut, he isn't. So those things have drawn me in. And in every paragraph, she doesn't leave me wondering, like what? And I thought that was really, really, really perfect.
That's sort of helping my question, because that also, the way that she talked about their love, hers with Brandon, shows me, she's showing us that they're a really good relationship.
Yeah. And then she says, she brings us back to the cemetery. But the most pressing question came on the morning of July 12th. Do I go with him to visit her at the cemetery? So we're back in the story. We're done with the backstory. We know all about the relationship. And then she starts talking about her insecurities and her emotion in this relationship. And it's vulnerable. And that's what a lot of people miss in their story. If you just give us the details without any vulnerability, we feel like, well, you're not bringing us in deep enough. And we're not really getting all that information that we're really curious about. And a story should have that. So I thought she did that really well. And it's so textbook. Like this happened and then this happened and then this happened and finally this happened. And that's what she does. She takes us in chronological order and then she gets to the very end. So I thought it was excellent. I mean, the second I read it, I was like, I love this lady. I want her to be my best friend. And
let's talk about how we took her class.
yeah, so we took her class. Then she said, oh, I'm having a class. I was like, can we form a group? I want to read your stories. Will you read mine? And it just felt like somebody I wanted to pull into our writing class radio family. And then she pulled us into her family. She's like, I have this class. I want you guys to come take it.
And it was awesome and it was hard. And Amy Paturel does a ton of work for her students. And I want to tell our listeners, if you're listening right now, you can take her class too. She's having a new class coming July 6th, 2020. And 6 weeks, you get to edit 2 essays. She gives you a spreadsheet with editor contacts. It's a total boot camp, lots of editing of other people's stories, which is great practice. And it's usually $400, but for you, $375 for all the Writing Class Radio listeners. And go to amypaturel.com to sign up and tell her we sent you.
And if you missed the July 6th class, just email her. She does classes periodically and get in on the class. At some point, you have to take it. Amy Paturel's essays have appeared in Newsweek, the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, Real Simple, Parents, and Good Housekeeping. She teaches personal essay writing online and offers one-on-one coaching to professional and aspiring writers. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Amy, for sharing your story with us. Writing Class Radio is produced by Virginia Laura, Andrea Askwitz, and me, Allison Langer. Social media content is by Ariel Henley. Theme music by Emia. Additional music is by Poddington Bear. There's more Writing Class on our website, writingclassradio.com, including video classes, stories to study, and editing resources. If you love this show and enjoy all the extras on our website, hit the Support Us button. And don't forget to check out the writing classes and publishing insights we are giving our Patreon supporters. $10 a month gets you an all-access pass to Andrea's publishing conversations, discussions, questions, everything. $25 a month gets you a writing class called First Draft a week with me. The classes are on Tuesdays at noon Eastern Standard Time via Zoom meeting and are for 1 hour. We write to a prompt and share what we wrote. Then I have a second draft class, which is on Thursdays, also at noon for an hour. That's $25 a class. And there, a smaller number of people get to bring in a piece, their second draft, that they want to workshop with the class. So it's a great way to get a little bit better at writing and jump to the next step. And it's excellent. Great, great group of people. For those who are interested, jump on writingclassradio.com and click on classes, or just email me at info@writingclassradio.com. A new episode will drop the first Wednesday of the month, so look for us. There's no better way to understand ourselves and each other than by writing and sharing our stories. Everyone has a story. What's yours?
Hi, I'm Avery Rich, host of the Journey into Yoga podcast. I have launched a newsletter called Declutter You. For $8 a month, you will receive helpful tips to help you create the space you need to live and breathe better. Whether it's closets, junk drawers, or your email inbox, we will declutter you. The newsletter also has a free monthly version as well. Sign up now at averyrich.substack.com.